Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Gossip Victory NIKKE. George the RetroTINK here. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. And in this video, we're not exactly hopping into Godfall just yet, but it's been a few days since I uploaded my Liberalia polls video, which, one, I want to thank all of those who have seen the video, and also my Nayuta polls video before that. But if you haven't, please do go and watch those, because not gonna lie, I did put a lot of not just resources in terms of vouchers and such, but I also put quite a bit of time into editing those videos. So I would like to, I would greatly appreciate it if y'all would go show those videos some love by watching them in full and potentially leaving a like on those videos just to give them a nice little push in the algorithm. But besides the case, there's still a few days left for Godfall, which I'm gonna finally see about getting into, but beforehand there's some stuff I want to go over when it comes to the 3rd anniversary events. Specifically, for those who don't know, this is pretty much the next really big event that's going on currently in NIKKE, which I'm pretty sure that some of you have seen through other videos. But aside from that, I've been doing my best to avoid spoilers as much as possible. But for context, aside from the event itself, we of course have the 2 characters on offer, which I have uploaded poll videos for respectively. And again, I would greatly appreciate you guys checking those out. I did put quite a bit of time into editing those. And honestly, what I went through to get these 2 characters, definitely worth it. So, currently, at the time I'm recording this video, still got a little over 3 days left for Nayuta, so I could potentially try to see about pulling for dupes for her. And there's 10 days left for Liberalia. And in terms of the Select Recruitment banner, which kicked off at the same time that Nayuta's banner kicked off, I had the same amount of time to potentially pull for Dorothy because I don't have her yet in the roster. But aside from that, when it comes to the 2 characters that were introduced for the 3rd anniversary, Nayuta and Liberalia, Nayuta, I want to say, made her debut at a very late chapter in the campaign. I want to say chapter 38 or 39 is where she made her debut. But then she also appeared again, I believe, in the side story Eden Spear, and then of course the main event itself, Godfall. And for those who have not seen the video, I already do have Nayuta in the roster. I was actually lucky enough and got 2 copies of her when I did my polls. But she's actually, well, the funny thing is, we were actually teased about Nayuta before the 3rd anniversary, actually, before details of the event actually came out. And that was specifically through word of mouth of Scarlet, Snow White, and Rapunzel during Crown's event, Last Kingdom. During that event, there was a brief moment where the other 3 made mention of Nayuta by name. And then there was a original version of Nayuta that was like found via data mine, but then, of course, we got this version, which, based on what I saw compared to the data mine version, this is definitely an improvement in terms of looks. Now, in terms of her backstory, a transcendent monk who wanders the world leisurely. Her tone and demeanor always carry a sense of calmness and composure. Once a member of Deep, she was cast out and later joined the Pioneer Squad. Yeah, fun fact, that name Deep, that definitely triggers some flashbacks. Specifically in 2 instances. The first that comes to mind is the New Year's event for Rappy that pretty much gave us Rappy Red Hood, being Footstep Walk Run, which provided the backstory of how Rappy came to be, as a character. And of course how her and Red Hood became friends and then later merged to become Rappy Red Hood. But another instance I remember hearing about Deep or seeing Deep in some way was with Manda's event. Now, from what I do recall, Deep is essentially a organization that resides within the Ark, and they're one of the only organizations who know about the giant rapture cord that's conveniently being hidden away inside the Ark, and then of course the giant rapture cord that also powers the lift. One other thing I forgot to showcase when it comes to Nayuta is actually her shooting pose. So yeah, so this is her stance by default, and that was the reload animation. And yeah, not gonna lie, the view, glorious. Yeah, they did a bang out job when it came to Nayuta's design. But of course, that was her regular skin, and then once it loads here, we actually were able to get a view of her gacha skin before it actually was released in game. And yeah, this skin is very, very awesome looking.
To triumph, I shall do whatsoever must be done. The burden of sin is one which I shall bear alone. Within this vessel of mine, the voices of the multitude of mine own likeness do proclaim. Their aspirations and aims must needs be fulfilled.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, they definitely did very well with this design. Yeah. And this reload animation / stance, like, wow. Yeah. Another thing I definitely like about this skin is of course, aside from the view itself, there's also the color and pattern of the design itself. Kind of gives me more or less like a cosmic sort of vibe. And ironically enough, it's kind of almost akin in terms of color palette to the end screens of my videos. But yeah, in terms of her stats, I already have her, well, I got her as high as I can get in terms of her skills and such. Her skills are pretty much all at level 7. And I did give her some equipment and boost it a little bit, but I definitely need more resources to boost it further. Yeah, and the fun thing is with her attack in her burst, after her burst animation, whenever that hand slams into the ground, there's like a little bell ding sound effect that actually happens. And I, of course, first heard it when GoGo Gacha did a demonstration when it comes to Nayuta's damage and such. And since he didn't have any music going on in the background, the ding very much reminded me of like those countertop bells you would tap at, like, say, a hotel lobby, in a way, to like more or less ring up the staff of the hotel and such. It was very, very akin to that in terms of the sound. And as for the other character that was added, Liberaglio, to my knowledge, her first appearance was in chapter 20, after we had slayed Nihilister for the first time. But then afterwards, as far as I recall, seeing from like screenshot and snippets / teasers in like video thumbnails, to the best of my knowledge, she has not appeared in any other campaign chapter until the most recent chapters 40 and 41 respectively. So for a good amount of time, Liberaglio pretty much disappeared after chapter 20 to pretty much go about her business. heretic reminiscent of the silence that covers the ocean depths. Her acute sensitivity to sound makes her excellent at search and detection, but also overly susceptible to loud noises, which she detests. Yeah. In a way, she kind of has sensitive hearing akin to Piccolo, though funny enough with the Dragon Ball tangent, her color scheme definitely is eerily similar to Frieza, with the white and the purples.
You're quiet, human, like the deep sea. That's why being with you isn't all that unpleasant. It's comfortable being next to you, which is dangerous. But I'll stay with you for now.
But yeah, when it comes to my poll luck for Liberaglio versus Nayuta, I was much luckier in terms of getting Nayuta sooner than, or getting Liberaglio sooner than Nayuta. And once again, y'all would know this if you by chance go and watch those videos. I know I'm talking a lot about those videos, but it does help. It does help a lot to get those videos some attention. And honestly, the more views those videos do get, the more that I know that my hard work for those videos is getting appreciated. You know. And I didn't make mention of this during the poll videos, but Liberaglio here has arguably one of the crazier loading or shooting poses / load animations when it comes to the game. It's like this is definitely among one of the more risque shooting poses of a character in game. Aside from hers, then also you have characters like, say, the two that immediately come to mind would be Crown and Eve, as some characters that have crazy shooting poses. But the funny thing is, with her essentially her jellyfish rigging, it kind of has like it has pretty much multi-purpose, because aside from it being a mode of flight, it's also pretty much its own like hovercraft with the laser cannon here, which she is classified as a sniper rifle character, but she actually is more of a rapid fire kind of sniper character. And I didn't make mention of it in my poll video for Liberaglio, but in terms of her toolkit, she's actually as Gogo would put it, she's essentially Alice 2.0, and she can Liberaglio here can specifically be used in pretty much wind teams, and then Alice can be exclusively used for, say, fire teams, for example. But yeah, in terms of her chibi form, or chibi, aside from it acting like a flying hovercraft, it pretty much also functions as a chair that she hovers around in. And based on a PV I saw that made mention of Liberaglio, she was also using it as more as a makeshift bed. So yeah, the chibi essentially, or her the jellyfish rigging / mech has effectively multiple purposes. Though, of course, Liberaglio is like one of the several characters that has more or less some sort of like rigging instead of like a conventional weaponry per se. Like ones that definitely come to mind when it comes to gear, like when it comes to weapons like that, they're not really conventional, aside from maybe Nayuta, would be characters like Cinderella, Ein, Liberaglio, of course, Nihilister with her dragon heads is another. Who else technically has like unconventional weapons? Not really any I can think of off the top of my head, but they're definitely the main ones I can think of that don't like have like regular weaponry. Well, actually, not Siren 2 because of her bubbles. And speaking of Pilgrim characters, one thing I do want to make note, especially for newer players, when it comes to the new character that you get for free when you log in, being Chime here, who pretty much was pretty much not playable in the game for 1.5 years. In the anniversary event itself, you will get selectors to where you can actually choose between her, Rapunzel Pure Grace, who I got who was the first pilgrim officially that I got during the second anniversary with Old Tales and Cinderella, or you can get Snow White Innocent Days, also known as Small White. What I recommend for newer players for that selector in particular, I would recommend using those selectors to get copies of Chime, so then you can max her out to the 3-star limit, because that's going to help out with one of the major progression walls of the game, that being the 160 wall, which of course, to break the 160 wall, you have to essentially get three SSR characters MLB'd. So you essentially pull them, then pull them 3 more times, so that way you can then MLB them. That in turn will also unlock their level cap, so that way you can actually increase the level above 160. Because when an SSR is maxed out, the max level cap that an SSR can get to without being MLB'd is 160 normally, when they're not in the synchro device. But once you MLB said character outside of the synchro device, then their max level can become 200. And by going into the skill cutscene here, I can actually showcase their Liberalio and Nayuta's burst animations respectively.
From torment freed, I shall attain enlightenment.
Yeah, you heard that ding sound? That's the sound that it's pretty much that bell sound that chimes whenever you actually, when she does one of her special hits in her burst.
I shall attain enlightenment. From torment.
And then, Liberalia's burst.
Hell has no fury like a woman awoken!
Yeah, pretty much akin to the saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." That's pretty much a way to showcase those off without actually having to go into battle. Aside from that, in terms of other little event details, one of which that was actually brought up was this little event here, the 5x5 supplies event. This originally happened during the 2.5 anniversary event, and every day when you log in, you get 3 of the you get 3 of these gacha tickets, so that you can unlock one of these squares in the on this grid. As you go through one of these squares, you'll of course build up a little multiplier here to actually increase the amount of rewards that you get, as long as the fever meter is at one of these specific marks. But aside from that, once you come across the custom module, then you have the option to do the resupply request pretty much at that given point, so that way you can then reset the board and then get those materials all over again. And for every time that you do one of those resets, the first one you'll get 2 advanced recruit vouchers, then 3, and then another 5, giving you pretty much a complete multi from the rewards. Then, pretty much for later, especially for newer players, you get a tier 9 equipment manufacturer selection box. With this, you can then select one of these specific boxes that would allow you to then select one piece of any of these type of a specific manufacturer, be it Elysian, Tetra, Missilus, Pilgrim, or Abnormal. Abnormal, of course, being for any of the collab characters, like Jill and Ada from the recent Resident Evil event. So, that event making its comeback is very, very helpful for newer players. Like, arguably during the 3rd anniversary is a excellent time for people who are new or who are basically new / wanting to actually try NIKKE. Now is actually a really good time, because you get a lot of like freebie resources to especially help with not only early progression but later progression. Speaking of progression, there was actually 2 different sort of more or less updates when it comes to, say, campaign and a special mode, being the surface mode, which is currently in beta. In terms of the surface mode, I've gotten through the tutorial of the surface mode, and I've gotten to basically like the main surface area, but I haven't really done much more in there thus far. And when it comes to the campaign, which we'll go to shortly, they added a new feature when it comes to the campaign, So you can do normal mode, hard mode, or story mode. Story mode is effectively what would be classified as a easy mode. So, for example, on the chapter I'm currently at, chapter 25, as you see, the map looks pretty much normal. We have the groups of regular fights, and then of course the boss fight, right? And then of course the little indicator showing how many lost relics are on this particular map. However, if we go here to the bottom right, and we switch it to story mode, there's actually a significant change. For one, no lost relic counter, and the only battles that actually are shown on the map are the ones that are exclusively the story battles. So any of the ones that actually have a story cutscene that triggers before or after, they're the only ones that are in the campaign. Which can make it to where you can actually progress through the story cutscenes itself relatively quickly. However, there is a catch. Two catches specifically. The first is that
This way, Commander.
if you do a story campaign chapter in story mode, for one, when you view the cutscenes in story mode, they actually won't replay again in normal mode. That's one thing. And matter of fact, I can show proof here in one of the update notices being here. The story mode is a far more comfortable viewing experience of campaign scenarios. All campaign scenarios can be viewed in both normal and story mode. Scenarios viewed first in story mode will not be replayed in normal mode. Now, here's the big catch. Ratchets on this, or the second bullet is the big one. Ratchets on the story mode field can be cleared with lower combat power, but stage rewards will not be provided. That's one of the big catches. The other is this. Please note that content unlocks are still based on your progress in normal mode. Yeah, that is a big deal, especially since there are certain features that are locked behind story mode completion. Ones that immediately come to mind are specifically involving like these two down here, Intercession and Solar Raid the Solar Ray Museum. But then there's also SP Arena, which also unlocks at a certain campaign chapter as well. So like say Interception EX and SP Interception, or Anomaly Interception rather, and the Solar Ray Museum, these modes won't be unlocked if you don't complete the campaign chapter on normal mode.
Commander. With no need to
So do keep that in mind if you go through story mode. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go through chapters 25 and 26, technically, in story mode, so that way we can actually view those cutscenes. Then we're gonna actually go into Eden's Spear, and then we'll do the third anniversary story, Goddess Fall. The main reason I'm not hopping into the event right at this moment, which I really should, the main reason is that I want to actually get some context on Nihilister, because aside from the fact that technically I haven't showcased what happened to her after the end of chapter 24, there's also the fact that Nihilister actually makes a return in Spear / Goddess Fall. So, and since there was actually a little disclaimer saying that I would need to experience chapter 26 / Last Kingdom to actually get some context on Eden's Spear, we might as well go through chapters 25 and 26, so that way I can actually get some more context. And heck, I haven't actually experienced the cutscenes for 25 and 26 yet, so. But aside from that, there's also other goodies that we have for this event, such as 2 skins that were actually introduced. One being a mission pass skin for Crown, being Glorious Flower.
What do you think? It's a new outfit Chime fashioned for me. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. So this technically counts as, I think, the second outfit that Chime had ever made for Crown. The first being her Naked King gacha skin.
If the people so desire, it's only proper if a king be willing to change their outfit.
Definitely to look at when it comes to the shooting pose, for sure.
This way, Commander.
Now, unfortunately, I am kind of running out of time when it comes to this pass, because I still have 5 milestones to go and only a little over 3 days to do it. So, I may have to actually bite the... If I want that crown skin, I may have to bite the bullet and actually pay through those milestones. But the other skin on offer, the monthly mission pass one for Siren. This skin, beautiful bubble, which I definitely admit this design is cute. Like, I do like the kind of drooped over the shoulder sweater look, and as you kind of notice with the bubble that she's sitting on, it's kind of designed like a gachapon bubble.
I should keep talking, or else I might forget how to speak.
Yeah, it's pretty much designed akin to a gachapon ball. And as you can kind of see inside the ball, aside from like a couple slime bubbles, you got from what I can tell, you got Grave/Ave, Cinderella, a bubble version of Mori, and one of the little bubble versions of Hansel and Gretel. And as for the little gachapon ball that she creates,
Or else I might forget how to speak.
There it is. And as far as I know, it only will randomly be one of those two. It'll either be the colored bubbles that are kind of akin to Dragon Quest slimes, or it will be, from what I can tell, the bubble Mori.
I should keep talking, or else I might forget how to speak.
Yeah, like that. And as far as I know, those are the only two that actually appear. And of course, her shooting pose. I may potentially get this skin. I'm not too sure. I'm beginning both the passes would be helpful in terms of getting more vouchers and full resources in general. However, there are 2 major skins on offer that I am definitely wanting to get. Of course, aside from Nayuta's, we have the one that came out before it, being the RetroTINK skin for Red Hood. And yeah, not gonna lie, when it comes to either version of Nayuta's burst animation, one thing that comes to mind is specifically a boss from Asura's Wrath, Ryzen, who is pretty much one of the largest bosses in video game history, who pretty much is one of his final attempts to crush Asura. He essentially tries to crush you under a finger. Whereas Nayuta pretty much uses her whole hand. And then of course we have the RetroTINK skin for Red Hood, which not gonna lie, like, this skin is definitely a winner in my books. Because aside from the fact that Red Hood looks freaking fantastic in it, especially since honestly being a country boy at heart, this outfit definitely speaks to me. But another thing that kind of came across my mind is that, in theory, if you took away the blue jean jacket, and if her top was black instead of white, this outfit ensemble would pretty much be eerily similar to Revy from Black Lagoon, which is kind of funny. It's like that's something that more or less appearance design kind of came across my mind.
What gorgeous weather! Days like this are perfect for listening to music outside. Wanna come?
But yeah, I definitely approve of the design, for sure. Then, of course, the shooting pose definitely speaks for itself. It's like, not gonna lie, she's effectively rocking the Daisy Dukes. One thing that I want to mention is that when it comes to the more or less the pull tickets you would use for each of the skins, in the ticket shop for each, they actually give us a free bundle of 6 to then use towards doing the spins on the roulette. So effectively, the max price that you could be paying for each of these gacha skins is 50 versus the regular 60. And yeah, when it comes to both these skins, yeah, not gonna lie, I think I'm actually gonna get them.
I don't like where this is going.
And speaking of gacha skins, there's one more thing I actually want to make mention of.
No need to hesitate.
And it's something I actually had, as a confession, a little bit of trouble getting. So, back during this Stellar Blade collab that happened in pretty much like June/July, there was actually the Steam /PC release for Stellar Blade that happened back then. And in collaboration with that, at the same time, there was actually a gacha skin for Scarlet. The gacha skin Racer's High. So originally this gacha skin was on offer just like Red Hood and Nayuta's gacha skins were during that collab. However, there was also an alternative method that you can actually get this skin. That alternative, being slightly more expensive, is that you could actually get the complete edition of Stellar Blade on PC. Then after you play through the story a bit to where you get to the city of Sion, then just off to the left there's actually a chest you can open, and then after going through some more or less some info giving, so that way you can basically do like a confirmation sort of bit to actually confirm what account you're gonna have this CD key sent to. Then you actually get the option to generate the code. So from that point, I then hopped into NIKKE on mobile, at least, because honestly, getting to that point was kind of difficult, because I want to say it was potentially due to the settings that I had going for my laptop, or more or less the settings in Stellar Blade itself, but I was having like technical issues out the wazoo when it came to it.
Were I to perambulate throughout the ark thus, none would take heed of me. I desire to show this unto Snow White and Rapunzel, merely to behold the look upon their fair faces.
Yeah. That's essentially the tap animation and the shooting pose. And in terms of the burst animation, I can actually show that if I go into the lobby menu here. But anywho, as I was making mention, here it is. Scarlet Flash.
Division, or thereabouts. A clean division, or thereabouts. A clean...
So, anyway, basically when I was initially trying to go through, I think it had to deal with potentially not enough space RAM-wise, or having the settings too high. But I would have issues to where I would have like frame drops, or I would have issues to where OBS wasn't recording properly. So it would cause like the audio playback to be like doubled or glitched in a way to where basically potentially using those video clips as like a let's play playthrough, or more or less a playthrough of Stellar Blade, it was pretty much unusable with how the audio was. So for now, any idea of doing a Stellar Blade LP is kind of scrapped due to technical difficulties. But then aside from that, I would have issues where my controller that I was using would just randomly, I would not get any sort of response from Stellar Blade whilst using my freaking controller. Or it would like disconnect basically like randomly. Stellar Blade, for whatever reason, was causing tech issues like crazy, preventing me from actually getting to Sion to get the code in a timely manner, because normally it was supposed to take about 2 hours to actually get there to then get the bloody code in the first place. So yeah, but after getting Nayuta and Red Hood's gacha skins, I'll pretty much have 4 gacha skins in game at this point. So I think we're gonna do some. And one thing I want to kind of bring up in terms of when it comes to the gacha skin and pricing and such, I will definitely say that the pricing is definitely a lot more fair/generous versus a couple other gacha games.
We're offering right to...
Oh.
Don't miss them.
If it stopped on the blue, I potentially would have gotten it there. But the 2 gachas I'm actually talking about, well, ironically enough, both of them happen to be games by Hoyo. Those games being Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. And if any of y'all have by chance been keeping up with the news when it comes to those two games, then I'm sure you by chance know. Because aside from the special mode that was added into Genshin, which is essentially borderline kind of a Roblox clone, but there's also the fact that with said mode, there's actually ironically enough, a costume gacha / costume banner when it comes to the event, or when it comes to that mode, which, based on what I saw for it, it's essentially kind of like a witch / sorcerer / mage outfit.
Please, later, you don't understand.
Now, here's the kicker. The only way you can actually get that outfit is with premium currency. Paid currency, in fact. And based on the pricing, essentially it would cost $138 to pretty much guarantee you the outfit, which, funny enough, and another sour note is that with the outfit, there's like a certain like set bonus with the outfit, and if you mix and match outfits, you don't get the set bonus with the outfit, which is kind of dumb in the first, which is dumb. And then another thing to note is that apparently they added a more or less a ascension function when it comes to the outfit, to where if you get it again, you can only be able to get the ability to change color. I'm not kidding.
Come and make a fortune.
So you could effectively pay up to like $280 to actually be able to get full customization options for that outfit in Genshin. And what makes it even worse is that the outfit is actually gender locked. So with the dolls you play as / control in that mode, you would essentially have to get the outfit twice.
You don't know what you're doing here.
And then potentially twice again, so you can actually have that color change option for both. I want to say that's how it works, but I'm not sure. Okay, no blue options this time. Yeah, we're not getting it.
Don't miss them.
Okay, so we still have the advanced recruit vouchers and the skin itself. And then the other more or less overpriced cosmetic thing that Toyo did was with Honkai Star Rail. Now, specifically with Honkai Star Rail, it involves the latest character, Cyrene, and her bow skin. Now, when it comes to that bow skin, yeah, it's gonna take the full 60 or the full 50 to get her skin, unfortunately. But anywho, essentially, with that skin, of course, it costs a certain premium currency that you have to pay real money for. There's like no other option to really get it. And then aside from that, to get pretty much all the paid currency that you need to get that skin, with the max bonuses that you get for the purchases, as long as you have them, you can spend at minimum $155 or up to $300 to max out pretty much the like milestone / trackers to get that bow skin, and that's without the top-up bonuses. And I found out this information courtesy of Gleefkio when he did a video about both of those controversies when it came to Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. So I definitely would recommend going to see his two videos on those. I would recommend seeing his videos on those games so you get more information. I'm just pretty much giving you like the cliff notes of it. Well, that's one skin down. And now for Nayuta's. That was kind of a weird glitch, but hey, we got it. Now, supposedly, some people have actually gotten the skin literally when it comes to the wheel.
We're offering great discounts, don't
And I sure ain't one of them. Yeah, obviously the odds of getting it early is very slim. And honestly, if it does take it, I may actually go all the way anyway, just so I can get all the goodies.
you get a lot of mileage out of it.
Denied again.
Come and make a fortune.
Oh, landing on purple. Hey, there's the advanced vouchers. Alright, so we still got the module, the 10 vouchers, and then the skin itself. Oh, I can actually do another 6. Can we get the skin this time?
Come and make a fortune.
Nope. Yeah, it's potentially gonna have to take all of them, just like with Red Hood's skin. Okay. Can we get it? Please?
We're offering
Nope.
great discounts. Don't miss them.
If it stopped at the spot before it, then we would have gotten it. So, yep. Maxed out again.
Hope you get a lot of mileage out of it.
And there we go. We got her glorious, glorious skin. I want to say that says asceticism. Now, obviously, for those who are free to play, they'll miss out on getting those skins. But for me, who honestly has the cash to do so, I can actually get the skins. And in all honesty, I don't mind, because honestly, I love this game. I love the characters, and I do want to actually show a little bit of love to this game.
Life was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, I honestly love that smile. It's like Red Hood is easily a favorite of mine.
Life was great, wasn't it?
It's like Red Hood, did you have to say the word was? Like, come on, you're bringing up traumatic memories.
With all sins laid upon me, forward shall I press.
Definitely a great looking image for sure.
With all sins laid upon me, forward shall I press. With all sins...
And yeah, I may not know a whole lot about Nayuta, but not gonna lie, I am kind of a fan of her already, even though I don't know a whole lot about her. And her vernacular is very, very similar to Scarlet's, in fact. So let's go ahead and change Red Hood to her glorious new outfit. So yeah, now when it comes to Red Hood especially, I have two very, very good looking outfits for her. Her free one and her gacha one, just like Rappy. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and change her back to her gacha skin as well. So yeah, in terms of gacha skins, Red Hood's and Rappy's gacha skins definitely up there as some of my favorites. I of course still do have a soft spot for Crown's gacha skin, even though I wasn't able to get that one due to joining the game well after Last Kingdom happened, and also Cinderella's gacha skin, because I was technically free to play at the time.
The hopes, tears, ire, and remorse of the multitude of mine own souls flow through this vessel. Thus, failure is not but forbidden. One day, great hero, may thou behold a realm replete with lofty edifices and innumerable chariots. A world vibrant with the melodies of human narratives. Though sin be laid upon me by all, I shall yet endeavor to restore the world unto the tranquility it once knew.
Yep, there it is.
One day, great hero, may thou be...
So those are pretty much all the dialogues for her when she's at max bond level. Well, at least bond level 10. Now what about Red Hood?
How about it, handsome? Think we've gotten kind of close. Feels good spending time like this with you, handsome. This'll be a day I'll never forget. How about it, handsome? Think we've gotten kind of close.
Yeah, I know there's at least a third one.
Wow, it's so peaceful. Never thought I'd say such a thing.
Definitely a fan of the other two dialogue lines for sure. Okay, so with that, we are just about all set. The next thing to do is see about going into the campaign and progressing through more of the story. And since we're going to be going through story mode, so we're going to go through the campaign. However, to kind of save on time, we're going to go via story mode. Now, in terms of getting things like the Lost Relics and the other rewards for this chapter and chapter 26, I'll switch back to normal mode and then progress through all the battles as usual, because thankfully on normal mode there's still the quick battle feature for all the battles that were stronger than, so I can just simply blitz through all of those battles aside from the non-skippable ones relatively quickly. But I'm gonna pause for a brief break, and then we'll pop back in to begin chapter 25. So I'll be back in a moment.